Hi everyone, this is Amateur Gamer. I'll be returning to the solo Pokemon run, and Charmander is our challenger this time. The Bulbasaur run was challenging for me due to the limited move pool. Moves learned through leveling up weren't stellar, and the TMs had nothing to write home about. Musslap proved to be a very useful move, and it has changed my opinion of it. I'm hoping that I won't be relying on it. I will also do my best to avoid using similar moves for consecutive runs, so moves like Return and Musslap will be avoided with the Charmander run unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, we'll look at the moves available to Charmander. Charmander gets Ember at level 7, which is really nice as we'll need a stab move pretty early, especially against Falconer who likes to use Musslap. Flamethrower is learned at level 31, which is fairly early. Before then, I can get Fire Punch at Goldenrod City, which should make Charmander noticeably better. In terms of coverage moves that jump out to me, I can see the TMs for Iron Tail, Dragon Breath, and Dig. 2 of these are acquired by beating gym leaders, and 1 is available in the National Park. With more options available compared to Bulbasaur, I'm liking my chances of an easier run. Of course, time will tell if that will be the case. And as for the rules for the run, use only the Pokemon selected in battle, no items except for held items in battle, no glitches or exploits. Only cheat use will be replacing the starter with the selected Pokemon, and I can use HM Slays outside the battle. Now we'll move on to the gameplay. So I did goof up. I changed to Charmander's model, changed the Pokemon. I didn't change the moveset, I don't know how. So this is a Charmander that knows Tackle, so get used to it. It's basically Cyndaquil's moveset. And even if I had Scratch, I don't think it would have made a difference. Totodile just seemed to be so much stronger. But anyways, I put that behind me. I went to Sprout Tower, leveled up because I was worried about how dangerous Musslap would be. Pidgey did get 1 Musslap off, so knowing my luck, I was gonna miss a lot. And so Pidgeotto, I was expecting it to spam Musslap because it's super effective. I did miss that 1 Ember, but after that, I was able to hit the rest of it, and for whatever reason, Pidgeotto used Gust only, which was a huge relief. If Pidgeotto used more Musslaps and I keep missing, there was probably no way of me winning. So that was my first attempt. I got through Falconer, and Bugsy is pretty simple, even with Ember, even with Scyther being slightly faster. Scyther made a huge mistake. If Scyther kept going quick attack, there's a chance I would faint, but it went for Fury Cutter as a second attack, and that did like nothing. So yeah, Bugsy was pretty easy, got through 2 gym leaders. Then we have my rival. Next, we have my rival, and this fight was tough because of my rival's starter. So, Ghastly could pose as a problem because I can't one-shot it at level 21, and its lick could paralyze me, and the moment it paralyzes me, I'm screwed. And Crocodile is extremely bulky. I'm hardly doing any damage with Swift and Ember, and even trying to, use Smokescreen, it doesn't help. So I decided to grind a little, get my Charmander to level 22, and still can't finish off Ghastly. I wish I got that crit luck for Crocodile. But anyways, dealing with Crocodile, I went for Smokescreen and went for Rage first. I went for 2 Smokescreen because I can't see how else I was going to win. So at least Swift does a bit more damage this time. And I was able to beat Crocodile. But I have 9 HP and my rival still has a Zubat. That was very worrying. So I was like, I'm not sure if it's enough, but thank goodness Zubat is terrible, so that bite didn't make my Charmander faint. And now we get to the fun part. Whitney, whose roll is super effective, so yeah, this is not something that I look very forward to. So I got Fire Punch. I actually bought it. It wasn't that expensive. It was only like 3,000 Poké Dollars. So this is my first attempt. I could have won this, but I totally misplayed it. So what happened was I used Fire Punch. I got it low. It used Milk Drink, and then I was like, oh, I can't get through this. I'm gonna use smoke screen. If I kept using fire punch, I think I would have won that. But you know, Miltank apparently doesn't miss after 3 smoke screens. But I miss after a single sand attack. So there has been many attempts. I've also leveled up Charmanders. So for one of the failed attempts, Clefairy used Metronome, got the Octazooka, which made me drop my accuracy and I can't hit Miltank. That was pretty hilariously bad for me. And then the other time, because Miltank is faster, Miltank used Stomp and just flinched me and I couldn't do anything. So overall, Whitney was a nightmare, but I was finally able to beat her. What a relief. With Whitney defeated, now I can move on to Morty. And I actually waited until Charmander reached level 31, so it knows Flamethrower. As you can see, I just learned Flamethrower, so I replaced Ember, and Flamethrower made this fight so much easier. Like, it's just so much more devastating. I could one-shot Haunters and Ghastly. Gengar can still be a problem, but at this point I feel like I don't need as much RNG. And missing Hypnosis helps. I got rid of it, and then he just has Haunter left. And I just have to use Flamethrower, and that's it. That fight was so easy compared to the Bulbasaur one. With Bulbasaur, it was pain. I think I was like level 36 before I beat him. So, yeah, amazing. Level 31. So, yeah, beating Morty wasn't such an issue, but there's a problem with the fighting gym where Chuck has a Poliwrath. And I have no idea what I was going to do against a Poliwrath. So, as you can see here, I'm like, Primeape wasn't much of an issue. Poliwrath has Surf, can one-shot Charmander. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? So instead, I decided to get that secret potion, get it to Jasmine so that she could go back to her gym. I was like, I'm gonna fight her first. So here, I'm fighting Magnemite. Pretty simple. Flamethrower destroys it. I thought Flamethrower would be neutral against Steelix, but I didn't realize that ground doesn't do much against Flamethrower. So it's actually super effective, and I could two-shot Steelix, which wasn't going to happen with Bulbasaur. And then Magnemite was gone, and so Jasmine was pretty simple, but I still had to figure out how I was going to beat Chuck and his Poliwrath, because man, is that brutal. So, at level 37, I could learn the move Slash, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it because there's a chance for crit, and the crit might be just what I need to fight against Chuck and Poliwrath. And now we return to fighting Chuck. This time I feel like my higher levels give me a better chance. Primeape wasn't going to give me a lot of problems. Flamethrower is going to take 2 hits, and I use Leer. Luckily I missed. That Leer might actually matter considering that Poliwrath does use Dynamic Punch at times. So here I'm like, okay, let's use Slash, hoping for critical hit. I was like, wow, critical hit, and it's only half. But luckily Poliwrath didn't use any attacks, so Charmander actually got through that without losing any HP. Man, that was quite fortunate given how much I struggled against Chuck. So after beating Chuck, I went to the Rocket Hideout. Of course I went to Lake of Rage, went to Rocket Hideout. There isn't much to say. Like, honestly, this battle really showcases what happened at the Rocket Hideout. Charmander uses Flamethrower, enemy faints, Flamethrower, opponent Pokemon faints, Flamethrower, and then we're done. And honestly, the Rockets weren't posing any problems, and I got through that. Honestly, it was more tedious than challenging. But then we move on to Price, who uses Ice types. I actually didn't realize that Seal doesn't have Ice type. It's a pure water, but doesn't matter. And then Flamethrower needs 2 hits to take out Dewgong. And then finally we have Piloswine, who apparently doesn't handle Flamethrower that well. So that was a quick and easy battle. Price is defeated. That's 7 gym badges. I accomplished this a lot faster than Bulbasaur despite struggling against Chuck. So we move on to Claire, and that gym battle was brutal. 3 Dragonairs are bad enough, but even the Kingdra can wreck Charmander. When I first fought Claire, a single surf from Kingdra made Charmander faint. It wasn't until I leveled up Charmander and gave it some carbos to raise a special did Charmander reliably survive a surf, though barely. The fight was over as soon as Dragonair paralyzed Charmander. I've lost count of how many times I reset against Claire. I tried using King's Rock, an item that has a chance to flinch the enemy along with Slash, but that requires so much RNG. I tried using Iron Tail only to be reminded that Water type is resistant to Steel moves. I then settled with Headbutt and Pink Bow as my option, and then miracle happened. Quite literally. Something tells me that I have used up all of my luck for the Charmander run. Against the first Dragonair, I used Headbutt and a critical hit, and the Dragonair is knocked out. Then comes Kingdra. I use Headbutt, hoping for the best, and I got a flinch. I'm like, that's the best case scenario. Alright, let's use a second Headbutt. It also flinches, and Claire didn't use a Hyper Potion, so I was able to knock out Kingdra after 3 Headbutts without taking any damage. Second Dragonair, another flinch. What is this? Knocked out Dragonair. I was like, I can't believe this. On the last Dragonair, surely something's gonna go wrong. Another Headbutt, another flinch. And I was able to knock it out. I beat Claire without taking a single damage. They didn't even get a chance to use any moves. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But RNG finally went my favor, and I was able to beat Claire. Now, we move on to the Elite Four. I have attempted fighting them at level 59, but even Will was a problem. I had no reliable way of getting through Will's Pokemon easily, and Charmander had limits regarding how many hits it can take, especially from moves like Psychic. Koga wasn't an issue at that level, but Bruno proved to be a roadblock. Yes, Charmander struggled against Bruno with me as its trainer. Onix with his sad story was the root cause, as the ability to slowly whittle down Charmander, along with how hard Machamp can hit, resulted in a lot of resets. In hindsight, I did have something I could use against Onix to improve my chances, but I was too brain dead at the time to think of it up. However, I still needed the levels because I had to fight Lance, and that fight is not easy by any means. I chose to challenge the Elite Four once Charmander was level 64. Will was very simple now that Charmander can one-shot all of Will's Pokemon except for Slowbro, and Headbutt was more than enough to get rid of Slowbro before it can cause any problems. Then we move on to Koga, who I got through pretty easily. There were the rare losses due to Muck using Minimize and Crobat using Double Team, but Koga was never a member I worry about, unlike how I fared against Fortress in my Bulbasaur run. While I finish off Koga right now, I want to talk about Bruno. Him on top wasn't a problem because I have formulated a plan against it. Deal a lot of damage turn 1 and then use Dig so it can't hurt Charmander. Him on top could use Detect to stop Dig, but since Charmander is faster, I don't take damage. At a higher level, I can one-shot Onix with Flamethrower, eliminating another RNG factor. Since I never got past Machamp in the past, I was unsure how I would fare against Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. I assumed they both can take one Flamethrower, which is why I need enough health after fighting Machamp in order to beat those two. And here we see me using the strategy to not take any damage from Hitmontop. I actually taught Charmander Dig specifically for this because I wanted to minimize the damage I take. And then thankfully Flamethrower finishes off Onix so I can't get Earthquake or Sandstorm off, both of which are very dangerous. Now we have Machamp, who has Rock Slide, which does about half damage. I could two-shot it. And at this point I wasn't sure how I would fare. So against Hitmonlee, I had the option. I was thinking about Headbutt to flinch, but I'm like, I'm probably not going to get that lucky. One Flamethrower, glad I got the crit, and then we have Hitmonchan, and Hitmonchan has Mach Punch, and that crit scared me, but thankfully I knocked it out quickly as well, so finally beat Bruno with Charmander. Next, I have to deal with Karen, and it's the same old story. If Umbreon lands a Sand attack, things will be difficult, otherwise it'd be pretty straightforward. Here, Umbreon missed a Sand attack. I was able to two-shot it with Flamethrower. And that will make life a lot easier. Then we have Gengar. There was no way I was going to one-shot it with Flamethrower. It uses Curse, makes itself faint. But just like Poison, Curse damage doesn't trigger if I make the Pokemon faint. So here I made Murkrow faint. And then I had to use Headbutt against Houndoom. And I'm just getting very lucky here, which is worrying because I felt like I need a lot of luck against Lance, and I don't want to use up luck, but to be fair, I did use a lot of luck against Claire, so there's that. And yeah, here the battle was very straightforward, very simple. Karen is beaten, and now I get to move on to fight Lance. Next, Charmander faces Lance, and that's quite a battle. It honestly requires a lot of things going my way, and I was too stubborn and lazy to grind more levels. However, it felt like it required less luck than my battle against Claire. Anyways, we first face off against Gyarados, who I needed 3 headbutts to finish it off. From our repeated resets, I noticed that Gyarados always uses Rain Dance first and Surf second. Even if I make it flinch the first turn, it will still use Rain Dance before Surf. That means a critical hit, headbutt, or a flinch can result in me beating Gyarados without taking a hit. That's honestly the best case scenario. Then we have Aerodactyl, who proves to be a huge problem. Dragon Breath does very little damage. Flamethrower does even less due to being not very effective. Headbutt is out of the question. That means my fourth option must be the solution, and I decided upon Dynamic Punch. The move might have 50% accuracy, but it can deal a significant amount of damage on Aerodactyl and confuses. According to Bulbapedia, the move has a 99.6% chance to confuse in Gen 2, so it's not guaranteed. In the ideal case, Aerodactyl gets hit and then hits itself due to confusion. That means Charmander beats 2 opponents without taking any damage. Against the Dragonite, I'm relying on 3 things. Dragon Breath for super effective damage that allows me to two-shot Dragonite, the 30% chance of Dragon Breath to paralyze for some Parahack, and the 10% flinch chance from the King's Rock Charmander is holding. Dragonites can use Thunder Wave, which is basically a death sentence for Charmander, and their Hyper Beam also hurts a lot. Both of those can miss, so with a bit of luck, I can get through all 3 Dragonites. So far I've been getting lucky because both Dragonites haven't been able to paralyze Charmander, and I was able to take them out without taking any damage. Next is Charizard. Why haven't I mentioned Charizard? This is the reason why. I was like, oh shoot, Charizard gonna use Hyper Beam, but it missed. And it gets a second chance, and it did nothing. So that's why I didn't even bother mentioning Charizard, because Charizard isn't that dangerous, sadly. And then we have the final Dragonite. I was able to use Dragon Breath, and it was able to paralyze. So even if Dragonite manages to paralyze Charmander, I will still be faster. But that Hyper Beam made my heart skip a beat. But thankfully, I was able to beat it, and I have beaten Lance. It was a hard-fought battle. Charmander certainly took less time to beat the Elite Four and Lance. At the same time, it also had some crazy luck in both the fight against Claire and Lance. More diverse move pool made the run feel smoother. We had a hiccup against Chuck's Poliwrath, but it was a small road bump unlike the complete wall Morty posed to Bulbasaur. I also used Dynamic Punch, which I never recall using in the past, so that's pretty cool. Overall, Charmander felt like a better starter in these solo runs, and despite the challenges, I enjoyed this a lot more. You have no idea how painful it is to get walled by a fortress and then still have to face off against Karen's Umbreon. Anyways, we still have Squirtle left, and I'm curious how the third Kanto starter will fare. If you enjoyed the video, please like, leave a comment, and maybe even subscribe. Thank you.